Alright, hello and welcome back. So, for this one, it's gonna be a little different. It's gonna be a little more intense. So, Carmen is the girl of interest today. She is 17, and I normally don't want to spoil as much of what we're going to see or not talk about it until we get into the thick of it, as much as I can. But for today, I do want to give a big fat trigger warning for Carmen's content. Um, there's always multiple ways to perceive what a character's story is and how they've gone through it and things like that. But with Carmen's case, one of the ways and one of the things that is very apparent is potentially SA. So if that is something that makes you uncomfortable, I would rather spoil it for everyone a little bit, and be able to warn the people that maybe would be uncomfortable with this topic. There are a lot of sexual themes, and I'll remind you, Carmen's 17, she's underage, and it does get a little, a little icky, a little uncomfy. I do still think her story is very important to cover and go down because I know so many people who were a young girl or a young person that was taken advantage of during a similar phase of their life, and so it is still important stuff to talk about. It is still a very, I don't know how to phrase it. It's still a very important topic, but I don't want to trigger anyone. So if you don't watch this video, I won't be offended. But if you are still here, it will be a bit heavy, but we'll power through together. It'll be good. It's good stuff to talk about and get off your chest, get into the details, but for now we're gonna start with Carmen's story. I feel like each one we're getting shorter and shorter because there's less and less stuff to interact with, and so we'll see how long this one ends up being. But I am excited though because I do really, again, I know so many people can relate to things within Carmen's storyline and her arc. And she's got a very different perspective, I feel like, than whereas the first two sisters were very innocent, and then the next two sisters were kind of like, whatever, like, I'm too cool for this. Carmen's got a much more unique perspective just compared to her sisters. With Scarlett's a little bit more straight-edged. Carmen is a little bit more free-spirited in that sense. Her walk animation. Oh, she can't play with the birds. That's a Rose thing. That's a little sad. Okay. Interesting. She's power posing. She's confident. Alright. Oh, she's a confident girl. Okay. So, let's start going through her items. I'm also gonna pull up the, before I even forget, let's pull up the list of items. Okay, knife, bullet, feather, diamond, syringe, teddy bear, boot, record, flower, tower, campfire, beer, bathtub. Okay, so she can interact with a bathtub, so I was right in that. That would be something for later, but it looks like, so I want to try and get this one soon. I don't know what it is. Let me see if I can't find a picture of all the items. It looks like there's a scary mask that we're missing. And it looks like the other item, that one is the grave that I missed as Robin. So I don't know if I'll be able to get it. That might be one that only Robin could have interacted with. So first the bread. I have to take this to grandma, or to grandmother. Hopefully this won't take long. She's a busy girl. Alright, what about the wine? We're a teenager. I hear this is good for the heart. Oh, interesting. That's actually less chaotic perspective I thought. Let's carve a heart in a tree, but with whose initials? So maybe a little bit of a hopeless romantic. A bullet with my name on it? Alas. Okay. Bit of a poet. Feather. Oh, gross. Who would slaughter a bird in the middle of the forest? Okay, so very kind-hearted too. Animals are so cruel, pushing each other out of the nest. Okay, so she's got a lot of compassion. The diamond. If I get rich, I wouldn't need to marry a millionaire. I could choose whomever I want. So maybe Carmen's gotten some pressure to marry rich. Guess it's not safe to try this. Oh, interesting. So, okay, still curious teenager about substances. Male and female were once one. Separated, we roam the earth in search of our missing half. Okay, back on that hopeless romantic vibe, the boot. Not my style. Not my style at all. Not my size either. Okay. Carmen does not like thrifting. I say it's a boot in the woods. Let's get the party started. I have the music. Where's the beer? Okay, we got a party girl. The flower. Flowers. Wish somebody would give some to me. Wanting that attention. Okay, the balloon is not for her to interact with. The piano. Nope. Nothing with that. And nothing with the bunker. So this is the grave. So maybe we can see that. And then this one, I just saw an icon of a mask. So we'll see if we can't get either of those as Carmen and or as Scarlet. Okay, well, let's get out here and see what items appear on the map. I know the place where her wolf appears is kind of close to the path. Okay, it's not there. So it looks like I might be able to interact with the grave as her. I'm curious if that mask is something I can interact with as Scarlet. Yes, okay, the mask I can see as Scarlet. So if I don't see it as Carmen, that's not the end of the world. So we want to make sure that we're looping to the bathtub. She's got a very sassy walk to her. She's very flirty and confident. Or at least outwardly so. What was that? Is there something I could interact with? Am I crazy? Probably. Also, it looks like Carmen, well, Ruby, I think the wiki said that she had dyed hair, but Carmen's the only one with like a boldly colored dyed hair, which I think is also interesting. And she's made comments about wanting male attention. Or wanting love, but in this game with the time we can potentially, I suppose, assume that she's on a heteronormative track. Okay, so we're back here. Carcasses, bones. I'm stepping on them. Let's get out of here. It's not my time. Okay. Very different, very contrasting perspective to Ruby. I also think it's interesting. Red and purple are contrasting colors, so it's an interesting contrast to see her make. Okay, I could not get this grave to trigger as Robin whatsoever. But I'm pretty sure I saw it when I was walking, when I was playing as Robin, and I was walking this way from here. I think it's this grave. At least that's what it looked like from the zoom in. I've avoided looking up any like video guides. Well, we've got a bathtub to go look at, so. Oh, hi. a little bit of soap, and a lot of warm and wet. Never alone anymore. So it looks like her only other two items are where her wolf is, actually. So, believe it or not, we're gonna go that way. I should actually idle and see if I can't interact with the girl in white first. Here she comes. It's getting blurrier as she... Okay. I'm holding myself. It almost looked like she felt a little insecure when she saw the girl in white. Maybe she feels a little insecure thinking about her innocence. Because I know when you're in the age that Carmen's in and you're coming into, or you're growing into a woman, or you're learning more about who you are as you grow, sometimes thinking about how naive you are to the world still can feel really intimidating or feel really daunting. So I could see her, when coming face to face with her youth or her innocence, feeling insecure about how little she actually knows to the world. It's a very long hug when they come back to the path. She doesn't want to look at her. Interesting. She's very much scared to face her own innocence, or maybe ashamed or embarrassed by her own innocence. Because, yeah, Ruby seemed like she felt sad thinking about her innocence, and then girl laughing, it could be that she feels like her youth was something bad about her. But similarly with Scarlet could also feel ashamed of or like embarrassed by, because she's not looking away then, but then it was when, oh, she's giving her a kiss on the cheek. Oh, that's very cute. Let's see if she looks away again. Yeah, she was looking away. She keeps doing it, but then she's glitching, but she kept looking away from the girl in white. Which is interesting because the younger girls on the path would like hold hands with the girl in white and walk along with her, but older girls seem more nervous about her. Oh, they're playing the slap game. They'll still interact and play with the girl in white, but they're a little bit more ashamed or embarrassed by her, or like, it's interesting. If we remember some of the things at the campsite, you're probably already speculating on what we're going to encounter, see here. It's that heavy breathing. Okay, so the tent is closed, the shack is closed, yet the beer seems fresh, and the fire is still warm. So, when we think of masculine energy, a lumberjack is of rugged masculine energy. Can I interact with this? Not necessarily. Not in the same way that Ginger could. Okay. Oh, she's in the tent. Oh no. So not the crates we want to get. Interact with the beer first. It's wild. So 2 of Carmen's secret rooms, the items are here, which is a little spooky. Because if you didn't know that, you might not trigger them. Fresh out and warm in, spinning head and bubbling blood. But we're not gonna sit down. We're gonna interact with the fire first. There we go. And there's her second, or her third item. The warm glow caresses my skin, peels me layer by layer, until I am pure for you. Interesting. Okay, so that's everything we should be able to gather as Carmen, so she's like, please don't. Very playfully taking his hat, and he is very clearly an older man. That's her in the tent. I wish the little girl wasn't here. Okay, now we sit down. She's hiding. She does not want to see this. I think it's a little interesting that the girl in white is hiding out in the tent, almost like she doesn't want to see, or she wants to hide away from from this. Oh, here he comes. So, Carmen is a little worse for wear. So, you know, Carmen is 17 and she's starting to awaken to her sexuality. And this, again, is something. Oh, I'm not controlling this at all. She's walking on her own entirely. Carmen, you know, is wanting that attention and validity and affection, but she doesn't really understand it or know it as much yet. And when you're in that age and you're still finding yourself in that way, a lot of people tend to go towards older people. Is it healthy or safe? No, but you know, you're a teenager, like, oh, he's so cool, he's so mature, he tells me I'm not like other girls, he buys me beer. So as icky and weird as it is, consensual or not, she's still 17, so it is still very icky. Saw blades. Themes of maybe cutting away or targeting her innocence or her youth, maybe. The hammering, I feel like, is self-explanatory. Oh, interesting. So the chopped tree in the pool. The chair on top of the mattresses. Interesting. The drip. When I see the mattresses with the chair on top, I think of the Princess and the Pea a little bit. There's 6 chairs underwater. It looks like she's crying on her shadow. Another thing with the X's, you know, a lot of the times young girls are targeted by predators, so that's another thing. I'm gonna let it get spooky and see if it's the same as the other girls. Does seem that way. Small, cramped. More mattresses. Oh, it's the same room with a different view. There's trees growing into the... This is uncomfortable. And it won't stop. Oh, it still hasn't stopped. Oh, thank God. There's that, mattress. So again, that theme of danger that maybe comes from this older guy, similarly to Ruby's. Saw blade marks. Oh, feeling a fire. Maybe burning passion turned into something dangerous or harmful. Oh, a tree growing through the mattress. Interesting. Okay, so apparently I collected 0 items that I could have collected aside from her special room items. I don't know what other items I could have collected. There were only 2 available on the inventory, and one of them I couldn't get, and the other one I couldn't interact with. And I don't know what the third one is, but we found the campsite, so that's cool. Oh my god, so much. So, all the doors had the X's on them, similar to the X's painted on the trees by the woodsman. A lot of that imagery was very self-explanatory. I think, you know, definitely imagery and scenery alluding to her being a target, or even if she... The thing is, she's 17. She is not the legal age of consent, which I think it depends on where you're at, but I'm going off the perspective that she is not of legal age, and so regardless of whether or not it was consentful, he was an older man, and I presume that it would, from the guilt and remorse she seemingly felt afterwards, it was not a positive experience for her. She probably felt a lot of discomfort and guilt after the fact. There was also pictures in that last part too of her being cut in half, so maybe if she feels like she was torn apart by whatever interactions she went through. Physical relationships are tricky, and when you're so young and just starting to learn about them or learn about those feelings you have, it can be confusing, it can be a lot. And maybe that's why a lot of the obscured vision, you know, from the trees, that could symbolize the just feeling something but not really knowing or not really seeing the full picture. But regardless, yeah, it's just an uncomfy story arc. It's very sad. Yeah, a lot of the imagery, it's just very heavily sexual, and it very much indicates her having a bad time. I think the pool with the dripping water, it drained over time though, didn't it? Or did it not? I can't remember. A lot was happening, and it was making me very uncomfortable, so I didn't get as good of a glance at everything as I would have liked to analyze and go as in depth. Yeah. Ugh. Poor Carmen, though. That they all experience very traumatic and very rough situations, but as a woman who understands the gravity of unwanted sexual advances, unwanted flirtatious advances from specifically older men, like, in general, they're not good, but when you're that age and you're getting hit on by older men and you don't really know how to deal with it because it's such a stark contrast, it's kind of that similar sense of previously, like when I was talking about my birthday, where the one birthday I got all the girly pink fluffy things, and then the next year it was like, here's perfume and earrings. It's weird to like be out in public and, where you previously had old men that would approach you that'd be like, how's school going, talk to you in a very appropriate way, are now making weird comments about you and your body. It's a way that makes you feel weirdly objectified and targeted, which all the exes, like the lumberjack is targeting the trees in the woods. It just felt like very much like, maybe even if Carmen is in her flirty and courageous phase, getting attention from men, she can do that with men of her age, men she goes to school with, but it's those older dangerous men that maybe seem cool and seem alluring, but when you take their hat off, maybe they're not as alluring anymore. Maybe once you peel the layers away, they're not as cool as you think. Maybe that danger isn't always worth the risks. Because, a lot of it, I just was like, ugh, I just want to get through Grandma's house. I don't want to look at any of this. But, like, things like the tree going through the bed, a lot of the times with like greenery and shrubbery, that represents a blossoming or an awakening of sorts. And so, Carmen going through her sexual awakening, there's a lot of themes of that. And then I think the like cramped tunnels too might go in to symbolize that she, as much as she wants to explore and she wants to keep crawling forward, she might feel really boxed in by her naivety, or by the fact that people keep bringing up her immaturity, which she, as much as she like is growing into a young woman and feeling more mature, she still has a rather immature mindset in a lot of ways. She still cares more about partying and boys than, school or anything else, and that's not to say that's bad, that's perfectly normal for her age, but when it gets to a point where you take that desire for danger and things like that to the point of putting yourself in harmful situations, that's where it gets scary. But that was Carmen's story. Thanks for hanging through a rather difficult one. I think they all hold certain trauma. They're all heavy. This one, for me, just hits a little bit more uncomfy. I think anything where there's potential for it to be interpreted as assault or non-consensual anything, it just adds to the discomfort factor. Thanks for sticking through it anyways if you watched this far. Next time might be the last part. We're gonna be going through Scarlet's, and then we'll probably do our epilogue bit in the same video, just because they have been getting so short, just because we're going through every part, and just looking through the inventory essentially. So Scarlet's part will likely be the last, but we'll see. But with that, I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.